I have to say something about Joe Biden, because his incoherent fantasies are going to affect all of us. The bloke is reluctant to speak to the media because those managing Biden know that if he goes off message, to put it unkindly, he's hopeless. Last week, he conducted his first press conference after 64 days as president, the longest a new president has gone in more than 100 years. How much longer can this go on? He declared a week ago that democracy was under threat. Well, he's right there. Witness our country, where mob rule and the ABC bid to replace the rule of law. But if democracy is under threat, which it is even in our country, that threat's not going to be averted with the leader of the world's democracies, incoherent, having to be propped up physically and intellectually. Now, have a look at Biden stumbling a fortnight ago while walking up the steps of Air Force One. Well, look, in many ways, it's quite sad. He stumbles 3 times. Trump talks about media bias and that in relation to Biden, quote, the press protect him. Well, after the stumble, the websites of MSNBC, CBS News, The Washington Post, Los Angeles Times and The New York Times all had no mention of Biden's stumbling incident. To prove the Trump point when it came to airtime on television, CNN devoted 15 seconds to the incident. But when Trump walked slowly down a ramp after he delivered a graduation address last June, CNN devoted 22 minutes to Trump's walk, the media pushing the line that Trump at 74 was facing serious health questions. This is the same Biden who addressed Kamala Harris as President Harris the other day. The same Biden who, during the presidential campaign, said he was running for the Senate. He was running for the Senate, not the presidency. Well, now have a look at this.
With regard to the filibuster, I believe we should go back to a position of the filibuster that existed just when I came to the United States Senate 120 years ago.
What? 120 years ago? You're kidding me. When he was in the Senate 120 years ago. Then he said this.
And that is that it used to be required for the filibuster, and I had a card on this.
What the hell does that mean? Not long after that, listen to this.
So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, we're going to get a lot done.
What? I mean, this is the President of the United States of America who's illiterate, incoherent, cognitively deficient, and the leader of the Western world. It is an insult to those who fought for democracy. What must Hillary Clinton be thinking? The leading female Democrat of her time. This bloke got the gig, she missed out. It is no longer a joke, though. The real tragedy is if Biden goes, Kamala Harris gets the gig. This is the woman who's been sent to deal with the Mexican border crisis. All Biden could do was revoke everything that Trump did, including Trump's Remain in Mexico program that forces migrants to wait outside America while their asylum applications move through the legal system. Actually, there is currently, I have to say, an investigation into whether Biden broke the law by halting construction of the border wall, which has led to a massive surge of illegal immigrants and unaccompanied children. There is a 1974 law that prohibits a president from altering funding approved by Congress. But now, having created the mess letting millions roll into America, Biden has thrown his Homeland Security Secretary under a bus and sent in Kamala Harris. Now, in 2018, the former acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Ron Vitello, questioned the then Senator Harris about the need to enforce immigration laws. Well, she compared the Immigration and Customs Enforcement program to Ku Klux Klan, motivated by racial animus. She was then asked whether people should be deported for violating US immigration laws. Her answer, no, they should not be deported. In fact, she called for the dismantling of ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The woman with a track record of encouraging illegal immigration and disparaging immigration enforcement agencies is now going to lead the effort to restore order. And she could be the next president. It would be comical if it weren't so serious. Today, now remember, this is everything that Donald Trump warned American voters about. Joe Biden has unveiled a US $2 trillion infrastructure plan overnight. It's a massive climate change manifesto. This has implications for us. How's this to be paid? Well, Biden plans to lift the US corporate tax rate from 21 to 28% and will reverse the tax cut that Donald Trump signed into law at the end of 2017. Now, as Trump warned the American people, now it's happening, tax increases, and here they come. The infrastructure plan is code for overhauling the economy and introducing the Green New Deal by stealth. Now, listen to the figures. The proposal includes $230 billion to build 500,000 electric vehicle chargers by 2030, the expansion of tax credits for clean energy generation and storage, and US $10 billion to launch a climate conservation corps to employ people to, quote, boost climate resilience, unquote. This is simply Biden genuflecting to the left, to Bernie Sanders, to green religion, and hiking taxes to pay for it. Well, thank God for the former Trump White House official, Mark Short, who's formed a group with other Republicans called the Coalition to Protect American Workers. And they say they'll fight back against the proposed tax increases and pressure politicians to reject Biden's infrastructure plan. Mark Short has said, and I quote, Democrats now want to pass job-killing tax increases that will stifle our economy as the country is finally emerging from a pandemic. Well, one person on the Fox News website has summed it up, and I quote, hold on to your wallets, folks. The Democrats are in charge and they're coming for your money. It wasn't enough, he writes, to steal $1.9 trillion for the Pelosi package, taking money from red states, that's Republicans, to distribute to corrupt and incompetently run blue states, that's Democrats. Now, you'll see something in the order of a $6 trillion Green New Deal coming, poorly camouflaged as infrastructure. He asks, guess who's paying for that? This is just a Fox News viewer writing. You do, your children do, and your grandchildren do. Future generations will curse us for letting this happen, and they'll remember the Biden administration, he writes, is the point where a once great nation turns south. Well, don't say that Donald Trump didn't warn Americans of this. Taxes will continue to rise. International crises will break out like spot fires. The first is Myanmar. China, sensing American weakness, is in the absolute ascendant. What's next? Hong Kong? Taiwan? The entire South China Sea? And all the while, Biden is escalating debt by pouring trillions into green projects, stumbling upstairs, and basically incoherent. Now, it's one thing to say, wake up, America. I am saying it's time we all woke up.